Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Welcome back. I don't hate too many people in this world. In fact, I like almost everybody. But one person that I truly despise is Dick Cheney. And this week he crawled out of his rat hole along with his beautiful bride wife and wrote The Collapsing Obama Doctrine, an op-ed piece for the Wall Street Journal. In it, he said, rarely has a U.S. president been so wrong about so much at the expense of so many. That's right, because you're a vice president. You know, you didn't benefit billions and billions of dollars by having your former company get no bid contracts. You didn't spill the blood of millions of Americans. I'm not talking about the ones who just died in the war, but their friends and relatives who had to endure their family members being killed or maimed or injured. No, you didn't benefit from any of that, did you? Look at him. Oh, what a disgusting creature. He has the gall to get on and talk about anybody in this world. He can't even criticize the devil. That is how disgusting that creature is, Dick Cheney. He is a complete, utter disgrace. But just the fact that he crawled out of his rat hole and had the gall to say all that in the Wall Street Journal is truly disgusting. The man is reprehensible. You know, and just going back to 9/11. First, you have the commission report where he didn't testify in front of a committee about what he knew and when he knew it. He did it secretly in the Oval Office where there were no transcripts being made because there was supposedly secret information. And then you have the testimony of Norman Mineta, who was the Transportation Secretary at the time. He talks about during his hearing how Cheney was giving stand-down orders not to shoot down the plane coming to the Pentagon. And then not to shoot down the plane that later crashed in Shanksville.
And when it got down to the plane is 10 miles out, the young man also said to the vice president, do the orders still stand? And the vice president turned and whipped his neck around and said, of course the orders still stand. Have you heard anything to the contrary? The flight that came into the Pentagon.
Truly a disgusting piece of work. It was his lies and his scheming that caused all this madness that we've had since 9/11, and even before, if you look at the energy bill and stuff he was pushing with Bush. So it just, you know, crawl back in your rat hole, Cheney. We don't need you to talk about anybody. You don't get to talk about anybody. You are a total failure. You are a disgusting blob creature. Whew. Sorry, got a little overreactionary there, but you know, you got to call it like you see it. Finally, we're going to play an excerpt from today's Infowars.com Alex Jones show, where Alex interviews Aaron Klein, WorldNet Daily writer, talking about how the U.S. government set up secret training bases in Jordan, and we're actually training the ISIS terrorists that are now taking over Iraq. Yeah, they were training them at first to take over Syria and overthrow Bashar al-Assad. And now, since they have all the weapons and missiles, they can go anywhere they want. And then after that, we're going to come straight into Alex Jones' predictions, where he predicted that they were going to be given these missiles and that the threat of them shooting down airliners was going to be used to take away our rights. And then it cuts to a piece of Megyn Kelly just 2 days ago talking about, oh my God, they have heat-seeking missiles and they're going to shoot down airliners, and we better worry, we better be afraid. That's what it's all about with the mainstream media. Be afraid, don't empower yourself, crawl in your own rat hole, because there is no escape from the terrorist Al-Qaeda. And with that, that'll be our news of the evening. Glad you could join us. You can reach us here and see us every day, 7 p.m. Central at prisonplanet.tv. Please consider becoming a member if you haven't done so already. And thank you once again for your support.
Well, if you want to get to the big picture, first we have the information that ISIS, Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, which of course is a front pretty much for Al-Qaeda, how they were trained. I actually first reported back in 2012 that the United States, the Americans, were running a training base with Turkey and with some other Arab countries in the Middle East. That it was at a secret base in Jordan to train at the time the rebels, the insurgents that were fighting Bashar al-Assad's regime in Syria. And then actually this has since been confirmed by the UK Guardian, by Der Spiegel, by the also Reuters has confirmed.
No, that's right. We had you on at the time. So again, WorldNet Daily, your sources, this was confirmed then, yes.
Yeah, so we were running having a training base, in other words, for rebels that are highly connected to al-Qaeda. But at the time, the United States finally admitted that they were giving aid to rebels, but said that they were vetting the rebels, the extremists, let's say, for elements of connections to al-Qaeda. Well, now I have information that we were training ISIS, not thousands of the ISIS members that are ISIS members that are currently right now gaining major ground in Iraq. We're talking here about dozens, but the larger story actually goes to Benghazi. Actually, this is a story that I'm going to be breaking a little bit later, but I will first reveal it on this radio show. On Sunday, we arrested a guy named Ahmed Abu Khattala, who is a member of Ansar al-Sharia, senior member of Ansar al-Sharia in Libya, wanted for the Benghazi attack. Well, it's a little bit strange that out of nowhere, suddenly we arrest this guy. Because actually, last year, U.S. Special Forces were tracking his every move. They were actually literally hours, according to CNN and the Washington Post, hours from arresting him. But then all of a sudden, Obama calls for the arrest at the exact same time in Libya of another terrorist. His name's al-Libi. The guy's been wanted since the 80s. He operates openly. They could have arrested him at any time. So al-Libi's arrested in this public raid, and then this guy who was just arrested, Khattala, is suspected in the Benghazi attack. He hears about it, and he goes underground. So all of a sudden, we now arrest him. So I have information, actually, that Khattala, again, he's actually, as of his arrest, the most wanted jihadist for the Benghazi attack, the murder of 4 Americans, including a U.S. ambassador. Well, my information is that Khattala, also, again, the most wanted terrorist in Benghazi for the attack, he was working for a nexus that included the United States, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, the Arab countries. He was working before the Benghazi attack, in other words, for the United States effort to arm the rebels.
Finally, somebody who's really big in the media is talking about something that we have been just screaming and yelling over, and McClatchy finally covered it. In fact, will you guys repull that in the article out of yesterday's stack where al-Qaeda promises that after Assad falls to attack America with the missiles. This is all in the British and German and French news. With the missiles our government and NATO gave them. Now, that said, France is leading the warmongering drum to invade, and there's a U.S. aircraft carrier and amphibious landing force right off the coast. This is incredible. And there's U.S. Special Forces, admittedly, for at least 9 months, the 22-month operation against Syria. They're backing up al-Qaeda. But what is Drudge doing? It's up at Infowars.com. He sends it out on his @Drudge Twitter. This is a big deal. Drudge chides Obama over hysterical Syria WMD rhetoric. The Assad regime, who's not perfect but wasn't attacking anybody, with real al-Qaeda. That's the main force. In fact, guys, will you print me the CFR thing from 3 months ago? Just type in CFR says we, quote, need al-Qaeda. That'll pull up the Infowars article. You can print that. Then that will link to the CFR report. Print that. Now that I think about it, I want to just re-show all this stuff to people, along with the McClatchy. There's an LA Times. Well, there's hundreds of articles out there saying, well, there is al-Qaeda, part of the force, and, well, yeah, they're about half the force. Well, actually, they're leading the force. Well, actually, they are the force. And we could get our liberties back. This could kill the hoax of al-Qaeda, the hoax of 9/11, all of it. These guys out of Saudi Arabia, who they brought into Libya next to Egypt, are now going up here just north of Israel and Lebanon. They are now going into Syria, which is to get ready to go into Iran over here. They are openly, with signs on the BBC saying, we're done with Libya, we're going to Syria. They do this, 50,000 at least. They've been given, and here's the key, not 1,000, not 2,000, not 3,000, not 4,000, not 5,000, not 6,000, not 7,000, not 8,000, not 9,000, not 10,000, not 11,000, 20,000 surface-to-air, heat-seeking, and radar-guided SAM missiles. And they are now saying that when this is in the news, this is LA Times, McClatchy, you name it. Our government gave it to them, our banker-run government. You understand how big this is. They are saying that they are going, let me repeat this again, to take over Libya. They did that. Next, we're going to Syria. Now they say we're going to Iran, which is Shiite, the Muslim minority. They're going to go to Iran, and when they're done, they're going to USA. And the feds, which are Federal Reserve bankers, they are absolutely going to arm them to come to America, attack us, and then they're going to take all our liberties in the name of fighting al-Qaeda that they run. The bankers run al-Qaeda to take over Libya, to take over Syria, to take over Iran, to take over Iraq previously, and now al-Qaeda, run by British intelligence for 100 years, is going to attack America and shoot down aircraft with heat-seeking and radar-guided missiles. They stand 2 miles from, I'm like 3 miles from the airport. These guys could sit there and just wait till aircraft pull off, take off, blow them up. When they're coming in, blow them up. And they will do it. And the media thinks you're so dumb, they are going to do all this until you give your rights up because of al-Qaeda. And it may not even be al-Qaeda. It may be other mercenaries doing it. I mean, this is how you bring a country down. When, quote, government screwed up in the past, or in any other country for that matter, the people responsible for it resign or go to jail. But nowadays, the answer is give us more funding, and that's what Hillary Clinton said. That's why whenever FEMA ordered the police to stand down during Katrina on Bush's watch, FEMA then got even more funding, saying we need more power. They've engineered that into the system. It's just an amazing level of corruption. But you see, watching the Senate hearings with Hillary, only part of it is being covered. Because our government armed the Libyan al-Qaeda rebels out of Saudi Arabia, who first came from Saudi Arabia and other countries, into Benghazi 2 years ago to destabilize and take down Libya. They were on the BBC saying, next stop, Damascus, Syria. They've been there. They've been given heat-seeking missiles. Some numbers are as high as 15,000. Most numbers are around 12,000. 10,000 of those heat seekers, pretty high tech. Take down any jet airliner you want. They've been attacking jet airliners, shooting them up. Passenger liners. And then the media thinks you're so stupid, they go, we have to give our rights up and invade all over Africa and Algeria and Mali because al-Qaeda's there. And then our criminal occupied government uses that as a pretext with NATO and France to invade Mali and Algeria and other areas. I mean, it's amazing. We predicted 4 years ago in the Obama deception they would use al-Qaeda that they control to invade all over Africa because we know how they operate. And we saw the buildup of AFRICON. We've been talking about Benghazi and what it means. I mean, why would they want to order a stand down and let people be killed? Bare minimum, they ordered a stand down. That's come out. There was a stand down. They're threatening everybody. They're acting totally paranoid. They've been caught lying. We know there were arms being transferred. But did they go in there to get rid of the State Department because the State Department wouldn't transfer the heat-seeking missiles to al-Qaeda? That's now being discussed on CNN. That's now what the CIA whistleblowers are telling CNN and Reuters and AP. Because if you look at the layers of the onion here, folks, Wayne Madsen, Steve Pachenik, Dr. Pachenik, and Colonel Schaefer, who works at the highest level of Black Ops, all said the same thing in the week, the month, and the months after. And their interviews are all up on Infowars.com. Insider, Wayne Madsen, and others expose the confirmed Benghazi was cover-up of arms transfer to al-Qaeda. And why are we going back to this now? Because we said it first, then CNBC of all places, DrudgeReport.com covered it within a month of it as well. Did the attack start? It was the Benghazi hired security by the State Department, by the CIA, by the National Security Council. They didn't want to be embarrassed, so just let them kill them, and then they'll get the weapons, and we'll use the terror threat later to take rights.
Breaking tonight, a troubling report on the terror group now in control of a third of Iraq. Today, we learned that the same group may now be in possession of a deadly cache of American-made firepower, Stinger missiles. They are powerful enough to take down a commercial airliner.
Celebrate the spirit of freedom and liberty upon which our nation was founded at InfoWarsShop.com. Molon Lave is ancient Greek for come and take it. This popular design combines both classic Greek Spartan imagery with modern M16 assault rifles. Now available in women's tees and proudly made in the USA. And now you can protect yourself from corrupt cops with the Infowars dash cam. It's your car's black box that records all that the driver sees and hears. And introducing the Block It Pocket. It renders your phone undetectable while protecting your private data and your health. Or take back your privacy and protect your personal information by getting your very own Detractor cell phone pouch. So get incredibly high-quality, freedom-based products and help fund the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.
You are watching the Infowars Nightly News, which airs 7 p.m. Central at InfoWarsNews.com. Members can share their passcode with up to 11 other people, and your support is helping us defend liberty worldwide.